what Baldoni has alleged, and again, he's brought receipts. This is verified.
Yeah.
He alleges that both Blake Lively in her filed complaint and the New York Times removed emojis from a text conversation between Baldoni's two PR reps and removed these sarcastic emojis in their conversation, which
And
basically
reordered the way that texts were.
exactly changed the order of text. And so, and also removed the context of the conversation, which made it clear that these women were joking.
Yeah.
And moreover, that they were not taking responsibility for this bad PR that Lively was getting. And so I'm not sure that I've ever seen a case before, even with the media being as shitty as it is, a case before where there was such blatant misrepresentation and alteration of text evidence. Have you?
No, I mean, I can't think of anything, not certainly in recent history. I mean, it really is. It's mind blowing that the New York Times, with, people can say whatever they want about mainstream media, but the New York Times they still have a very intact, reputation, and they still have a slew of very talented lawyers. And so the fact that it would get this far, with being obviously so one-sided is really, it's shocking. And, maybe it proves that a Lively Reynolds machine being so untouchable and so strong. And, Justin is, kind of the David versus Goliath story here. It's shocking. And the other thing too, I would add, and I don't know if you saw this too, but Reynolds was working on the scripts for this movie. And like, what the hell is that?
He was not authorized to do so, right? In fact, Baldoni did not find out until after the film was made and had premiered that one of the rights in the film was done by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's unauthorized.
That's crazy. I would be very upset by that. In the other co-stars, I don't know why they're not more chafed, or if they are, maybe they just don't want to even go there because
they're just scared.
I really do. I think they're scared too. And before this conversation, I started going through some of the Instagrams of the other co-stars, and the guy who plays Atlas,
Brandon Sklenar.
He's so cute, by the way.
He is.
He's adorable. He's great in 1923. But I went to his Instagram recently. He kind of tried to come out and like refocus the whole film to like, look, like we are a whole cast and crew here devoted to talking about how bad domestic abuse is. And, he had the statement references a friend, who's in a very similar situation as the character Lily from the movie. And, so I think that everybody's kind of trying to scramble to be like, okay, let's just try to bring this back to the original purpose, which was to shed light on the horribleness that is domestic abuse. I don't know if that's a sign of distance from Lively here, but, he reaffirmed everyone involved in this movie, is devoted to taking down this. So, I mean, I don't know, like, when you do this PR thing, you kind of get those special glasses where you're like, wait, what's he doing here? What does this actually mean? So, I mean, I thought that was interesting. I didn't see a ton from anyone else, but he's the biggest other star of the movie.
Yeah, it is interesting though, that because Brandon Sklenar has been very supportive of Blake Lively, but then if there is this effort now to maybe kind of distance himself a bit or refocus away from this narrative of toxicity, that might indicate something. And look, we've seen this scenario before where a woman will come out with allegations. And everyone gets in line behind her because believe all women, and she seems like really, she's beautiful and sweet and all of that. And of course she wouldn't lie about something like this. And so everybody kind of gets in line. It happened with Amber Heard. I mean, even someone like me, right? I believed Amber Heard initially. And so everybody kind of gets in line for various reasons. And because of our bias toward women and believing women and so forth, everybody gets in line. And then slowly there's
unraveling.
Yeah, there's an unraveling narrative, or maybe there's a sudden unraveling when these lawsuits are filed. Like when I read Johnny Depp's lawsuit against Amber Heard, and I was like, oh my God, we were so wrong. We were so wrong. And that was the feeling that I had reading Baldoni's lawsuit. And not that I believe everything that he said in his lawsuit. And it's true that a lawsuit is usually just one side's extreme perspective and subjective framing of things. But if you put Lively's complaint and her lawsuit up against Baldoni's, there's one person who has really brought the receipts, and it is so far, and it isn't Blake Lively.
Yeah.
And this narrative that she and others have generated about Baldoni being this narcissistic egotist, it is really contradicted by the text that Baldoni has provided, where actually when he's talking to his PR people, he's saying things like, well, let's let Blake have her win, and I don't want to pile on, and we just need to be positive about this. Yes, she took the film away from me, and it's not the cut that I would want, and yes, she strong-armed me basically out of directing this film, fully, but whatever, I'm proud of this and all that. You actually see in these texts a very classy, very benevolent, very forgiving.
I was shocked. I was shocked that that was his reaction, because I mean, that was truly him. It is him taking the high road when that would be a very hard thing to do, in a circumstance where it would be very hard to take a high road. And he seemed to do it. And, I will say, like, there is something like the spidey sense for me. It's like, some of these counter things that he's putting out there, it's like, God, these are too perfect. This dude has an answer for everything. And so, is there a part of me that's like, how is this not a little bit manufactured? Yes. But I mean, if that's not the case, then, this woman is untethered to reality, Blake Lively, and she's delusional in thinking that she's going to just walk away with this. But it's fascinating. He has an answer for everything right. From the for the breastfeeding thing, which right. was very, like, that one was a shocking claim. Like, that is so gross to be creeping around a woman who's breastfeeding. But then we find out, and we see the text, we see the receipts.
And she said, by. And let me say also, he provided, because again, just to remind people, Blake Lively's claims and her narrative was that he and his friend, Jamie Heath, the other producer, the guy at this production company, Wayfarer, and others, so there was this environment where they would just barge into her room while she's breastfeeding. And, she felt so violated by it and so forth. But then Baldoni actually provides a text exchange with Lively, where she was saying to him, oh yeah, sure, come on by. I'm just pumping in here. Now, I'm not a mother, and but I have friends who breastfeed and have breastfed and so forth. And generally, when one of my friends displays this kind of casual attitude about it, like, oh, I'm just pumping here or whatever, then to me, that sort of sets a precedent for, like, okay, this person is comfortable with this situation. She's comfortable not only breastfeeding, but to me, kind of making a sort of a crass comment about it. I mean, I'm not a mom, but like, oh, I'm just in here pumping. Come on in. And so to me, that really sets the stage then for a sort of casual attitude about it. And then I can also see someone like Baldoni, who, because he considers himself a feminist and really and someone who was, very hands-on with his wife's birth experiences, and someone who is really, open to the feminine experience, I could see where on his part, he might think, well, she's comfortable and I want to show that I'm comfortable. This isn't a big deal. It's not a big deal around me to be around a woman who's breastfeeding and stuff. So he probably thought that being all casual and stuff about this was actually a feminist way of behaving, right?
Yeah. And no, I mean, absolutely. Like, there's, clearly this is it's super safe. It's really safe. Like, I can't make a big thing of this at all. And I shouldn't. And why should I? The whole thing. It's right. It's she's comfortable. I'm comfortable. Let's work. Let's go. This is fine. I mean, that was my exact thought when she was like, oh, just in here pumping. I'm just like, okay, this is a woman who's very comfortable, and anybody can, and Justin can certainly come in and they can talk shop right now. So like I said, this guy, and as you've said, he has his receipts. Every single thing she has said, there is a very clear and clean cut counter. And I think that's very, very rare. And I have no idea how she's gonna spin this. I really don't.
Well, I wanted to ask you, do you think that she and her team just did not expect that he would have receipts, or that he would basically call their bluff? Like, do you think this is a surprise to them? They found themselves now, Blake and her team, in a surprising situation with the pushback that they're getting?
Yeah, I mean, they must. I don't understand their mindset if they knew that they were messing around with texts and giving them to the New York Times. That I don't understand. To think that somebody's not going to fight back, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can try to just wipe the floor with somebody's entire career and life work and expect them to just sit and take it. Right. The whole thing, I mean, it really does. It blows my mind. Like, these are not real people. And I don't know if this is something that fame, does to your sense of reality, but it's unrealistic. It's it's wildly arrogant, and it's delusional. It's delusional.
Right.
Of course Justin is going to fight back. He has to. He has to.
Backed into a corner now. I mean, that's the thing, is they could have, that's what I keep coming back to, is Blake Lively. She won a huge victory with this film being this huge sleeper hit. This has given her so much cachet, so much power now in Hollywood, additional power now. And she could have just taken her marbles, so to speak, her trophies, and walked away, and people were already getting tired of this mean girl narrative, and there was pushback and like, come on, y'all, and all of that, right? This stuff fades in a lot of instances if you just kind of move on. But now she has really stoked this narrative.